Hello and welcome. My name is Rachel with Buffalo and Sparrow Yoga Collective. We're going to do another yin practice to calm and open the body, hopefully. The props I'll be using is a block, or are a block, and a blanket. So if you have something like that, a towel or a throw blanket will also work. If you don't have a block, you can use like a throw pillow. Um, yeah, this will be used as support, so probably a throw pillow would be the best substitution for that. So sometimes when we do a still practice, it can be nice to move the body just a little bit to prep it for the stillness. Yin yoga gets into interconnective tissues and fascia, so we hold stretches, that should be a word, for a good amount of time, for at least a few minutes. And so a good way to kind of get some of the busy energy out is to do a practice beforehand. So if you want, check out our YouTube channel, do a practice that's a little more flowy, or maybe you want to do a strong flow or a gentle flow or something. We have short bite-sized pieces where you can just pop in and do a short practice. If you don't have time for that, I will just guide you through 2 vinyasas very quickly before we get into our yin practice. So we'll start at the top of the mat, standing. Sweep your arms all the way up overhead. Take a breath in. As you exhale, palms come together and fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms plant. Step into high plank. You can drop your knees down here if you'd like as well. Bend into your elbows. Come all the way to your belly, tops of your feet to the earth. Inhale, cobra pose. Lift your head, your chest, your heart. Breath out, come down. Tuck your toes. Inhale, kneeling plank to high plank to downward facing dog. Let your heels get a little heavy here and spread your fingertips really wide. Soften into the muscles of your face. Inhale, soften your knees and take your gaze between your thumbs. Exhale, come all the way between your thumbs at the front of the mat into a forward fold. Breathe in, halfway lift. Exhale, refold. Soften your knees. Sweep your arms out, around, and up to come all the way back up to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart. We'll do one more round like that. Inhale, arms all the way out and up. Exhale, fold down center line. Breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana, that's halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back into high or kneeling plank. Keep the exhale as you bend your knees, those are your elbows, into chaturanga or to your belly. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, let your heels be heavy. Maybe you pedal out your feet a few times on this side, or on this round rather. Hips go back and up. Breathe in, soften your knees. Breath out, walk all the way to the front of your space. Inhale, halfway lift. Breathe out, fold as you soften your knees. Breathe in, come all the way back up. Arms overhead, and exhale, Samastihiti, hands to your heart. Shoulders back and down, lift up through the crown of your head. And now we will begin our yin practice. So find a good, comfortable seat. We're going to begin in butterfly shape. In Sanskrit, it's Baddha Konasana. So your feet come together and your knees come out wide. You can either stay here and handlebar onto your shins, and as we're here for a few minutes, either start to fold forward, or you can move in different directions if you'd like. There's also a way in which you can support yourself in this shape. This might be after you've been here for a minute, or you can go right into it. So I have my block on the highest level. If you're a little more open today, then you can lower the block to a different level. And then I like to use a blanket for padding. And then I'll bring the block to the inside of the soles of my feet, just like that. And then you decide like how close or far you want your heels from your pelvis, so that when you fold, your head can be supported by the blanket. And here you're going to allow your shoulders to roll, your arms can come to the sides of your feet or wherever feels most comfortable. And so find that place where you feel a good amount of sensation, so that we are working some tension, some healthy tension into your muscles. and tissues. We'll just breathe here for a few minutes. And if ever you want a playlist to go along with practice, some nice ones on Spotify. I really like the album Leaf radio station. That one's beautiful. You can do, there's actually like yoga yin playlist that you can search. And that can help sometimes drown out any like background noise in your mind. But another good way is to let your breath be your background noise. So you listen to your breath and bring full attention and awareness to every inhale and exhale. So I'll try to quiet down here so you can listen into your breath or just find a gentle meditative space as your body releases into the shape. And try to stay in these shapes for a minimum of 3 minutes. So you probably got about another minute. I'm just moving to get my water, but stay where you are unless you need to move to get your water. I felt a cough coming on, so I want to avoid that. And take about 4 to 5 more breaths in this shape, noticing what you feel and how you feel. And slowly start to come up out of your shape. And we'll take your blocks to the side. We're going to use them again for the next pose, which is going to be pigeon. So turn to face the short edge of your mat. Take your right foot and knee in front of you. And your left foot is going to swing back around and reach for length. And then you're going to pivot your entire pelvis to become level and square with the ground. And this is where props are helpful. So when I level out my hips and square them, that means I've got my right hip anchoring back and my left hip anchoring forward to help create that hip points pointing forward. I've got a floating right hip. Some of you might be able to reach, actually if I walk my back foot farther back, I can connect my hip a little closer, but depending on where you're at today, you could use a prop to support under your floating hip. So a blanket is probably best for me. Also, it's another sensation and more support to bring it under your left thigh and hip. So that side might be floating more for you. So find what works best for you with or without the prop support. And then you can start to lower maybe to your elbows. And this, if you aren't using your block, then, or if you have a second one, then you can use that for support for your head. And so we'll be here for a few minutes. And this one is a big hip opener, outer right hip, left psoas, and quadriceps. So just know that it's common for this to be tight, for this area of the body to be tight, to hold a lot. If that's what you're feeling, you're not alone.
And then there's always permission to adjust and move as you need. I definitely don't want you to be um, in a place where you're experiencing pain because you've been there too long. Um, Yin is uncomfortable, yoga is uncomfortable, but yin specifically targets the discomfort of finding that high sensation in a stretch that you hold for a good amount of time. And that's where we get the stress on the tissues and some of the muscles where we find a little more relief once we come out of it. So um, discomfort's normal. If you're feeling pain, however, please adjust or support as needed with your props. And you might find the longer you're here, your body opens up slowly. So if you want to keep with that stressing of your body, that healthy stress on your body, then you can lower even more. You can remove props, do as needed. I noticed that the longer I'm in this shape, my right hip gets heavier and my left hip lifts. And so for me to keep that sensation, I drive my left hip point down a little more to square my hips off or to level them off. And we'll take about 5 more breaths here. Nice intentional slow breathing, using our breath to amplify the shape. So when you inhale, you expand a lot, breathing into belly, chest, ribs. And when you exhale, you press out that last bit of air, using a complete round of breath. And after that 5th exhale, come up onto your hands if you had lowered and roll your weight into your right hip so you can free up your left leg to come all the way forward. Lean back on your hands, stamp your feet wide, and windshield wiper your legs from left to right just to rinse out any tension. Just bringing some equanimity into the hips after an asymmetric shape, in which we will move into the other side in just a moment. The next time that your knees go over to the left, keep them over to the left. And then we'll pull your left knee in closer and your right leg will swing back behind you. And now you position yourself as needed on this side. This side of your body will likely have a different amount of opening available to you. Two sides of the body are usually always different. So just notice, and we find this alignment of left hip back, right hip forward, and then noticing if one hip is lower than the other, trying to level out your hips as well. Then when you find a floating hip, you could support that with props. Or perhaps the floating is the tension that your body needs. So you decide. And then when you're ready, lower down. With or without the support of your props. You might notice how this feels in comparison to the other side of your body. And then also notice if you're holding tension, like unhealthy tension in other areas of your body, meaning you might be clenching your jaw or furrowing your brow or shrugging your shoulders, and just be cognizant of those habitual places of tension and start to bring awareness to those places of your body as you soften and release. You could use your exhales here to help release. Invite that meditative space in. You might find some inquiry into the layers that go beyond your physical body. What is it that you're hoping to evolve towards or out of? What is it that you need from your practice, from this moment, from your breath? What support do you need, and how can you meet yourself there? And if ever you're concerned about how you're shaping the pose, just as long as you're not feeling pain or compromising your joints. So it is really more about how it feels than how it looks in your body. And perfect alignment doesn't exist. It also is not going to translate the same to each body. So just let yourself feel and release any expectations on how it needs to look. I got about another minute here. So if we're breathing slow and intentional enough, that'll be about 6 breaths. Some of you will have 8, but try to slow it down. Long, long inhales, long, complete exhales. Can you allow your breath to slow down as your body has, and your mind to follow suit? I don't know if you heard my stomach growl. I need to eat lunch. After yin. And then slowly come back up onto your palms. If you had lowered, we're going to pour the weight into your left hip to free up this right leg to come back. And we will rinse out the same way we did the other side by windshield wiping your legs from side to side. Good. And so we've had quite a hip focus. So hopefully there's a little more opening for our final shape. Doing a wide-legged fold. So your legs are going to come wide. I like facing the long edge of my mat for this. Your toes curling up and facing the ceiling. Your kneecaps will find that same alignment facing the ceiling. And some of you at home have bolsters. That could be helpful for this shape. If you want to use that as well, you can. But I only asked for a blanket and a block, so that's what we will work with. On the highest level, again, we'll use the blanket as padding. So this is essentially the same shape that we did when we started, but we've now taken our feet out wide rather than together. So same permissions. You can start tall and then move into a fold the longer we're here, or you can support yourself and go straight into a supported stretch, folding down until your head meets. And excuse me, you can also stack your arms here if you'd like, and then rest your forehead onto your forearms. And then if you're here for a few rounds of breath and notice you could kind of scoot your pelvis forward to get more into that deep sensation, then do that. We'll be here for about 3 minutes. So, my voice accidentally went into an accent. Keep your breath full and long. Your breath really does help the shape and help your body to release and to open up. It also helps your nervous system to calm down, among a lot of other things. If you've noticed that your thoughts have wandered outside of your practice, just gently guide them back in and know that that's normal. And can you bring your awareness on your breath in your body, your sensations, staying present in the here and now? It can be helpful to walk yourself through your five senses: sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. Got about another minute here. So see if you can't make this minute into 6 breaths, really slow breaths. Slowly and gently guide yourself out of the shape as you lift away from your props. You can move them to the side. And then I usually need my hands to help support a bend in my knees and bringing them all the way forward. Let's bring your knees together and just squeeze in close into a ball as we take a moment to be grateful for our bodies and the ability to move them through shapes. I'm grateful for the time you took to take care of yourself during this practice and be present and find your easy Sukhasana seat. Palms together at your heart space. It's been my joy and honor to lead you through Yin today. Thank you for taking the time for yourself, which will ultimately benefit